Welcome to Freema Audioboks. Welcome to a place where your thoughts begin to reshape your reality. Where the ideas you absorb today become the life you experience tomorrow. And where the journey toward abundance is not a distant dream, but a path you can start walking right now with clarity, purpose, and intention. Today's audiobook, Create Abundance in Your Life, Attract Wealth and Opportunities, is designed to guide you into a deeper understanding of how your mindset, your actions, and your awareness work together to create the results you see in your life, and how, by shifting them intentionally, you can begin to unlock doors that once seemed invisible. Before we dive into this transformative experience, take a moment to support the channel by subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing this with someone who is ready to grow alongside you. Because every small action you take helps this message reach those who are searching for change. Now allow yourself to settle in, to become present, and to listen not just with your ears, but with your mind and your intuition. Because what you are about to hear is not just information, but a perspective that has the power to reshape how you see everything around you. Let's start with part 1. Understanding abundance as a mindset. Abundance begins as a quiet shift in perception. A subtle yet powerful change in how you interpret the world around you and the role you believe you play within it. Because for most people, life is experienced through the lens of limitation, where opportunities feel scarce, success feels distant, and the idea of wealth seems reserved for others who appear more fortunate, more connected, or somehow more deserving. Yet this perception is not an objective truth, but a learned pattern. One that has been reinforced over time through repeated thoughts, experiences, and external influences that shape how you respond to challenges and opportunities alike. And as you begin to question this pattern, to examine whether it truly reflects reality or simply your conditioning, you create the first opening through which abundance can enter. Because awareness is always the starting point of transformation. And without it, even the greatest opportunities can pass by unnoticed. Hidden behind assumptions that quietly dictate what you believe is possible. And as you continue to explore this idea, you may begin to notice how often your thoughts lean toward doubt rather than possibility. How quickly you dismiss ideas that feel too ambitious. And how easily you accept limitations that were never truly yours to begin with. As you deepen your understanding of abundance, you start to realize that it is not something external that must be chased or acquired, but rather a state of alignment that originates within your thoughts, your beliefs, and your emotional patterns. Because everything you experience in the outer world is, in many ways, a reflection of what you consistently hold within your inner world. And while this may seem abstract at first, it becomes increasingly clear as you observe how your expectations influence your actions, how your beliefs shape your decisions, and how your emotional state affects the opportunities you are willing to pursue. Because when you believe that something is possible, you naturally begin to act in ways that support that belief, even if those actions are small or seemingly insignificant at first. And over time, these actions compound, creating momentum that brings you closer to the outcomes you desire. While on the other hand, when you operate from a mindset of scarcity, where you expect limitations and anticipate failure, your actions become more cautious, more restricted, and less aligned with growth, ultimately reinforcing the very limitations you seek to overcome. Of the most important aspects of cultivating an abundant mindset is recognizing the difference between what is truly available to you and what you have been conditioned to see. Because the world is filled with opportunities, ideas, and connections that exist regardless of whether you notice them. Yet your ability to perceive these opportunities is directly influenced by your mental focus and your belief system. And this is why two people can exist in the same environment, with access to the same resources, yet experience vastly different outcomes. because one is attuned to possibility while the other remains focused on limitation. And as you begin to train your mind to look for opportunities rather than obstacles, to ask empowering questions rather than reinforcing doubts, you gradually shift your perception in a way that allows you to see paths that were previously hidden. And this shift does not happen overnight, but through consistent awareness and intentional practice. It becomes a natural way of thinking that shapes how you approach every aspect of your life. Your environment, both internal and external, plays a significant role in shaping your perception of abundance. Because the people you interact with, the content you consume, and the experiences you engage in all contribute to the beliefs you reinforce over time. And if you are constantly surrounded by messages of scarcity, by individuals who focus on limitations, or by environments that discourage growth, it becomes increasingly difficult to maintain a mindset of abundance. Yet this does not mean you are powerless, because you have the ability to consciously choose what you expose yourself to seek out perspectives that expand your thinking, and to create environments that support your growth, even if those changes begin in small ways, such as adjusting your daily habits, exploring new ideas, or connecting with individuals who inspire you to think differently. And as you make these adjustments, you may begin to notice a shift not only in how you think, but in how you feel, because abundance is not just a mental concept, but an emotional experience that influences your energy, your confidence, and your willingness to take action. Another key element of abundance is the understanding that value is not fixed, but created, because many people believe that opportunities are limited to certain paths or predetermined outcomes. Yet in reality, value is constantly being generated through creativity, innovation, and the unique perspectives that individuals bring to the world. And when you begin to see yourself as a creator of value rather than a passive participant in a fixed system, you open yourself to a wider range of possibilities. Because instead of waiting for opportunities to appear, you begin to create them through your ideas, your skills, and your willingness to explore new directions. And this shift in perspective empowers you to take ownership of your path, to experiment, to learn, and to grow in ways that expand your potential, ultimately reinforcing the belief that abundance is not something you wait for, but something you actively participate in creating. Fear and doubt often act as barriers to abundance, not because they are inherently negative, but because they can limit your willingness to explore possibilities and take action, especially when they are left unexamined or allowed to dominate your thinking. And while it is natural to experience uncertainty when stepping into the unknown, it is important to recognize that growth rarely occurs within the boundaries of comfort, and that many of the opportunities you seek exist just beyond the edge of what feels familiar. And as you learn to navigate fear with awareness, to acknowledge it without allowing it to dictate your decisions, you begin to expand your capacity for action, gradually building confidence through experience rather than waiting for certainty to appear. And in doing so, you reinforce the understanding that abundance often requires a willingness to move forward despite uncertainty, trusting that clarity will emerge through action rather than hesitation. Consistency is another foundational aspect of developing an abundant mindset, because transformation is rarely the result of a single insight or moment of inspiration, but rather the accumulation of small, intentional shifts that are repeated over time. And while it can be tempting to seek immediate results, true change often unfolds gradually, as new patterns replace old ones and new habits take root. And this process requires patience, commitment, and a willingness to continue even when progress feels slow or uncertain. Because each step you take, no matter how small, contributes to the larger trajectory of your growth. And as you remain consistent in your efforts, in your focus, and in your willingness to learn, you begin to build a foundation that supports lasting change, allowing abundance to become not just an idea, but a lived experience that evolves with you. As you continue on this journey, it is important to recognize that comparison can be one of the most subtle yet powerful obstacles to abundance. Because when you measure your progress against others, you often lose sight of your own path, your own growth, and your own unique opportunities. And while it is natural to observe and learn from others, it becomes limiting when it leads to self-doubt, discouragement, or the belief that you are somehow behind. Because abundance is not a competition, but a personal experience that unfolds differently for each individual, shaped by their choices, their perspective, and their willingness to engage with the opportunities available to them. And as you shift your focus from comparison to self-awareness, you begin to appreciate your own progress, to recognize your own strengths, and to move forward with a greater sense of confidence and clarity. Clarity of intention plays a crucial role in aligning yourself with abundance, because without a clear sense of what you are moving toward, it becomes difficult to direct your energy and your actions in a meaningful way. And while it is not always necessary to have every detail figured out, having a general direction, a sense of purpose, or a vision for what you want to create can provide a powerful anchor that guides your decisions and keeps you focused on what truly matters. And as you refine this clarity over time, adjusting it based on your experiences and your evolving understanding, you create a dynamic path that allows for both structure and flexibility, enabling you to adapt while remaining aligned with your goals. And in doing so, you reinforce the idea that abundance is not just about what you achieve, but about how you move through the process of creating it. Ultimately, understanding abundance as a mindset is about recognizing your role in shaping your reality, about becoming aware of the patterns that influence your thoughts and actions, and about choosing, moment by moment, to align yourself with possibility rather than limitation. Because while you may not control every external circumstance, you do have the ability to influence how you respond, how you adapt, and how you continue to move forward. And it is through this ongoing process of awareness, intention, and action that abundance begins to take form in your life, not as something distant or unattainable, but as a natural extension of how you think, how you act, and how you choose to engage with the world around you. Let's move on to part 2, releasing limiting beliefs about wealth. As you continue this journey toward creating abundance in your life, it becomes increasingly important to examine the beliefs you hold about wealth, because these beliefs, often formed long before you became consciously aware of them, quietly influence how you think, how you act, and what you allow yourself to pursue, shaping not only your financial reality, but also your sense of what is possible for your future. And while many of these beliefs may feel natural or even factual, they are often the result of repeated messages absorbed from family, culture, and early experiences, messages that define money as scarce, difficult to obtain, or reserved for a select few. And as you begin to bring these beliefs into your awareness, you create the opportunity to question them, to evaluate whether they truly serve you, and to replace those that limit your growth with perspectives that support your expansion. Because true transformation begins not with external change, but with the willingness to rethink what you have always assumed to be true. Many limiting beliefs about wealth operate beneath the surface, influencing your decisions in subtle ways that can be difficult to recognize without intentional reflection, because they are often disguised as logic, practicality, or even responsibility, convincing you that you are simply being realistic when in fact, you are reinforcing patterns that keep you within a narrow range of possibility. And these beliefs may manifest as thoughts that suggest you are not qualified enough, not experienced enough, or not in the right position to pursue greater opportunities, creating a sense of hesitation that prevents you from taking action. And over time, this hesitation becomes a habit, a default response that limits your willingness to explore new paths. Yet the moment you begin to notice these patterns, to observe how they influence your behavior, you gain the ability to interrupt them, to choose a different response, and to gradually shift your mindset toward one that supports growth rather than restriction. One of the most common limiting beliefs surrounding wealth is the idea that there is not enough to go around, that success for one person somehow reduces the opportunities available to others. And this scarcity-based thinking can create a sense of competition that feels overwhelming, leading you to believe that you must struggle or sacrifice excessively in order to succeed. Yet in reality, the world is constantly evolving, with new industries, new ideas, and new opportunities emerging every day, driven by innovation and creativity. And as you begin to understand that wealth is not a fixed resource, but a dynamic process that can be expanded through value creation, collaboration, and vision, you start to see that your potential is not limited by what others achieve, but rather enhanced by the possibilities that exist within a growing and interconnected world. And this shift from scarcity to expansion allows you to approach opportunities with a sense of openness rather than fear. Another belief that often holds people back is the notion that wealth requires sacrifice in areas of life that are deeply meaningful, such as relationships, health, or personal fulfillment. And while it is true that building something of value requires effort, focus, and commitment, it does not inherently demand that you abandon balance or compromise your well-being, because sustainable success is not built on burnout or constant pressure, but on alignment, where your actions support not only your goals, but also your overall quality of life. And as you begin to challenge the idea that success must come at a cost, you open yourself to new ways of thinking about achievement, ways that integrate growth with well-being, allowing you to pursue abundance in a manner that feels both fulfilling and sustainable. And in doing so, you redefine what it means to succeed, creating a path that reflects your values rather than inherited expectations. Your relationship with money is also shaped by emotional associations that may have developed over time, because experiences involving financial stress, uncertainty, or conflict can create lasting impressions that influence how you perceive and interact with wealth, leading to patterns such as avoidance, anxiety, or even self-sabotage when opportunities arise. And while these responses may feel automatic, they are not permanent, because with awareness and intentional effort, you can begin to reframe your experiences, to separate past events from present possibilities, and to build a healthier, more constructive relationship with money, one that is based on understanding, confidence, and a sense of control, rather than fear or uncertainty. And as you develop this new relationship, you may find that your ability to make decisions improves, that your confidence increases, and that your willingness to engage with opportunities becomes stronger. It is also important to recognize how language shapes your perception of wealth, because the words you use, both internally and externally, reinforce the beliefs you hold. And when you consistently describe money or success in negative or limiting terms, you strengthen the associations that keep you from fully embracing abundance. Yet by consciously shifting your language, by choosing words that reflect possibility, growth, and opportunity, you begin to reprogram your thinking in a way that supports your goals. And while this may seem like a small change, it has a cumulative effect over time, influencing how you perceive challenges, how you respond to setbacks, and how you communicate your intentions to others, ultimately shaping the environment in which your ideas and opportunities develop. Another powerful step in releasing limiting beliefs is exposing yourself to new perspectives. Because when you expand your awareness beyond familiar narratives, you begin to see examples of what is possible in ways that challenge your previous assumptions. And this can come through learning from individuals who have created success in diverse ways, exploring different industries, or engaging with ideas that encourage you to think beyond traditional boundaries. And as you do this, you may begin to notice that many of the limitations you once believed to be universal are, in fact, specific to certain contexts or mindsets. And this realization can be incredibly freeing, allowing you to redefine your own path based on what resonates with you, rather than what has been expected of you. Taking responsibility for your beliefs is a crucial part of this process. Because while it may be easy to attribute your mindset to external influences, true change requires ownership, a willingness to acknowledge that, regardless of how your beliefs were formed, you have the ability to reshape them moving forward. And this does not mean dismissing your past experiences, but rather using them as a foundation for growth, learning from them while choosing not to be defined by them. And as you take this responsibility, you empower yourself to make conscious choices about how you think, how you act, and how you engage with opportunities, creating a sense of agency that is essential for building lasting abundance. As you begin to replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones, it is important to do so in a way that feels authentic and believable, because simply repeating positive statements without genuine alignment can create resistance rather than transformation. Yet by gradually introducing new perspectives, by reinforcing them through action and experience, and by allowing them to evolve naturally over time, you create a shift that is both sustainable and deeply integrated into your way of thinking. And as this shift takes place, you may begin to notice changes not only in your mindset, but in your behavior, your confidence, and your willingness to pursue opportunities that once felt out of reach. Ultimately, releasing limiting beliefs about wealth is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process of awareness, reflection, and intentional growth. Because as you evolve, new challenges and new perspectives will continue to shape your understanding. And by remaining open, curious, and committed to your development, you create a mindset that is adaptable, resilient, and aligned with abundance, allowing you to move forward with greater clarity, confidence, and a deeper sense of possibility, knowing that the limitations you once believed to be fixed are, in fact, opportunities for transformation waiting to be explored. Let's move on to part 3, the power of focus and intention. As you move deeper into the journey of creating abundance in your life, you begin to recognize that your focus is not merely a passive observation of the world around you, but an active force that shapes your perception, your decisions, and ultimately the results you experience. Because wherever your attention consistently goes, your energy naturally follows, and over time, this alignment between focus and energy begins to influence the patterns that unfold in your life, determining what you notice, what you pursue, and what you allow to grow. And while this may seem subtle at first, it becomes increasingly powerful as you realize that even small shifts in attention, when repeated consistently, can lead to significant changes in your direction, guiding you toward opportunities that align with your intentions, rather than leaving you drifting in response to external circumstances. Many people underestimate the impact of scattered attention, believing that occasional distraction or lack of clarity has little effect on their overall progress. Yet when your focus is divided across too many concerns, worries, or competing priorities, your ability to move forward with purpose becomes diluted, creating a sense of stagnation that can be difficult to overcome. And this is not because you lack potential or capability, but because your energy is not being directed in a way that supports meaningful progress. And as you begin to bring awareness to how you spend your attention each day, you may notice patterns that reveal where your focus is being drained, whether through unnecessary distractions, repetitive negative thinking, or a lack of clear direction. And by identifying these patterns, you create the opportunity to reclaim your attention and redirect it toward what truly matters. Intention serves as the guiding force behind your focus, providing clarity and direction that transforms attention into purposeful action. Because without intention, focus can become reactive, shifting in response to external stimuli rather than being aligned with your goals. And when this happens, it becomes easy to lose sight of what you truly want to create, as your energy is constantly pulled in different directions. Yet when you establish clear intentions, when you define what you want to move toward and why it matters to you, you create a framework that allows your focus to become more deliberate, more consistent, and more aligned with your desired outcomes. And this alignment between intention and focus acts as a powerful catalyst for progress, enabling you to make decisions with greater clarity and to take actions that support your long-term vision. Clarity is not always immediate, and it is important to understand that developing a clear sense of intention is often a process that unfolds over time, shaped by exploration, experience, and reflection. Because in the beginning, you may only have a general sense of what you want, a feeling of direction rather than a detailed plan. And this is not a limitation, but a natural starting point, as clarity tends to emerge through action rather than waiting. And as you engage with your goals, as you test ideas, and as you learn from your experiences, your intentions become more refined, more specific, and more aligned with your evolving understanding of what truly matters to you, allowing your focus to become increasingly precise and effective. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen your focus is through conscious practice. Because like any skill, the ability to direct your attention improves with repetition and awareness. And this can involve simple yet intentional habits, such as setting aside time to reflect on your goals, minimizing distractions during important tasks, or regularly reminding yourself of what you are working toward. And while these practices may seem small, their cumulative effect can be significant, gradually training your mind to prioritize what is meaningful over what is merely urgent or habitual. And as this shift takes place, you may begin to notice an increased sense of control over your thoughts and actions, as well as a greater ability to remain aligned with your intentions, even in the face of challenges or distractions. Relationship between focus and emotion is also an important aspect to consider, because your emotional state can influence where your attention naturally gravitates, often drawing you toward thoughts that reinforce how you feel in the moment. And while this can be beneficial when your emotions are aligned with your goals, it can also create challenges when negative emotions dominate your thinking, leading to patterns of worry, doubt, or frustration that can limit your perspective. Yet by becoming aware of this connection, you gain the ability to interrupt these patterns, to consciously shift your focus toward thoughts that support a more constructive emotional state, and in doing so, you create a feedback loop that strengthens both your mindset and your ability to take effective action. Visualization is another powerful tool that can enhance your focus and reinforce your intentions. Because when you take the time to mentally imagine the outcomes you wish to create, you engage your mind in a way that makes those outcomes feel more tangible and achievable. And this process not only strengthens your belief in what is possible, but also helps to align your thoughts and actions with your vision, creating a sense of familiarity that reduces hesitation and increases confidence. And as you practice visualization consistently, you may find that your ability to recognize opportunities improves, as your mind becomes more attuned to experiences that align with the scenarios you have imagined, effectively bridging the gap between thought and reality. Discipline plays a crucial role in maintaining focus, especially in a world filled with constant distractions and competing demands for your attention. Because while motivation can provide an initial spark, it is discipline that sustains progress over time, allowing you to continue moving forward even when enthusiasm fluctuates or challenges arise. And this does not mean forcing yourself into rigid routines, but rather developing a sense of commitment to your intentions, a willingness to prioritize what matters even when it requires effort or sacrifice. And as you cultivate this discipline, you build resilience, creating a foundation that supports consistent growth and enables you to navigate obstacles without losing sight of your goals. It is also important to recognize that focus does not mean narrowing your perspective to the point of rigidity, but rather maintaining a balance between clarity and adaptability. Because while having a clear direction is essential, the path toward your goals may evolve in unexpected ways, presenting opportunities that you could not have anticipated. And by remaining open to these possibilities, while still grounded in your intentions, you create a dynamic approach that allows you to adjust and refine your path as needed, ensuring that your focus remains aligned with both your vision and the realities of your journey. And this balance between structure and flexibility is key to sustaining progress over time. Ultimately, the power of focus and intention lies in their ability to transform potential into reality, to take ideas that exist only in your mind and gradually bring them into form through consistent attention and purposeful action. And as you continue to develop these qualities, to refine your intentions, to strengthen your focus, and to align your actions with your goals, you will find that your path becomes clearer, your progress more consistent, and your sense of direction more grounded, allowing you to move forward with confidence and purpose, knowing that you are actively shaping your life rather than simply reacting to it. And in doing so, you step more fully into the process of creating abundance, not as a distant possibility, but as an ongoing reality that unfolds through your awareness, your choices, and your commitment to growth. Let's now move on to part 4, taking aligned action toward opportunity. As you continue building a life rooted in abundance, it becomes increasingly clear that mindset alone, while powerful and essential, is only the beginning of transformation, because without action, even the most empowering beliefs remain unrealized potential, existing only as ideas rather than lived experiences. And it is through action, through movement, through your willingness to step forward despite uncertainty, that those ideas begin to take form in the real world, shaping opportunities, creating momentum, and gradually turning vision into reality. And while many people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect level of confidence before they begin, the truth is that clarity often emerges through action rather than before it, meaning that the very steps you hesitate to take are the ones that reveal the path ahead, guiding you forward in ways that thinking alone never could. Aligned action is not about constant busyness or forcing yourself into endless activity, but about making decisions and taking steps that are in harmony with your intentions, your values, and the direction you wish to move in. Because when your actions are aligned, they carry a sense of purpose that makes them more effective, more sustainable, and more fulfilling. And this alignment allows you to move forward with greater confidence, even when the outcome is not guaranteed, because you trust that each step is contributing to your growth, your learning, and your overall progress. And as you begin to operate from this place of alignment, you may notice that your efforts feel less scattered, that your energy is more focused, and that your results begin to reflect the clarity you have cultivated within yourself. One of the most common barriers to taking action is the fear of making mistakes, the concern that choosing the wrong path could lead to failure, wasted time, or missed opportunities. Yet this perspective often overlooks the fact that mistakes are not the opposite of success, but an integral part of the process that leads to it, because each action you take, regardless of the outcome, provides feedback, offering insights that refine your understanding and improve your ability to make more informed decisions in the future. And as you begin to reframe mistakes as learning experiences rather than setbacks, you reduce the hesitation that keeps you from moving forward, allowing yourself to engage more fully with opportunities as they arise. Momentum is a powerful force that is built through consistent action, because once you begin to move, even in small ways, you create a sense of progress that reinforces your motivation and encourages further movement. And this momentum can transform what once felt overwhelming into something manageable, as each step builds upon the previous one, gradually increasing your confidence and your capacity to handle more complex challenges. And while the initial steps may require effort and intention, over time, the process becomes more natural, as your habits align with your goals and your actions become a reflection of your commitment to growth. Rather than something you must constantly force yourself to do, opportunities often appear in subtle forms, not always as clear or immediate as you might expect, but as possibilities that require your attention, your curiosity, and your willingness to explore. And when you are actively engaged, when you are taking steps and interacting with your environment, you increase your chances of recognizing these opportunities because you are present, aware, and open to what is unfolding around you. Yet when you remain passive, waiting for something obvious or guaranteed, many of these opportunities pass by unnoticed, not because they were not available, but because they were not recognized or pursued. And this highlights the importance of staying engaged, of remaining active in your pursuit. Even when the path is not fully visible, taking aligned action also involves trusting your intuition, that internal sense of direction that often guides you toward decisions that feel right, even when they cannot be fully explained through logic alone. And while intuition should be balanced with thoughtful consideration, it can serve as a valuable compass, helping you navigate uncertainty and make choices that align with your deeper understanding of yourself and your goals. And as you learn to listen to this inner guidance, to distinguish it from fear or impulse, you develop a more nuanced approach to decision-making, one that integrates both insight and awareness, allowing you to move forward with greater confidence and clarity. Consistency remains a key element in this process, because while inspiration can spark action, it is consistency that sustains it, ensuring that your efforts continue over time, even when motivation fluctuates or challenges arise. And this does not mean maintaining a rigid or exhausting pace, but rather committing to steady, intentional progress, where each step, no matter how small, contributes to the larger picture you are building. And as you maintain this consistency, you begin to establish patterns that support your growth, turning action into habit and habit into a natural part of your daily life, reinforcing your alignment with abundance. It is also important to recognize that not all actions will lead to immediate results, and this can sometimes create frustration or doubt, especially when you are putting in effort without seeing tangible outcomes. Yet this is often a natural part of the process, as many of the most meaningful changes occur beneath the surface, building over time before they become visible. And by maintaining your focus, by continuing to take aligned action even when results are not immediate, you develop resilience, patience, and a deeper trust in the process, understanding that progress is not always linear, but cumulative, and that each step is contributing to a larger transformation. Surrounding yourself with supportive influences can significantly enhance your ability to take action, because the people you interact with, the environments you engage in, and the information you consume all play a role in shaping your mindset and your behavior. And when you are in environments that encourage growth, that support your goals, and that challenge you to think beyond your current limitations, you are more likely to take action, to explore opportunities, and to remain committed to your path. And while you may not always be able to control every aspect of your environment, you can make conscious choices that bring you closer to spaces and individuals that align with your vision. Ultimately, taking aligned action is about bridging the gap between intention and reality, about translating your ideas, your beliefs, and your goals into tangible steps that move you forward. And as you continue to engage in this process, to take action with awareness, purpose, and consistency, you will find that opportunities begin to unfold in ways that reflect your efforts, your growth, and your willingness to participate actively in your own journey. And in doing so, you reinforce the understanding that abundance is not something that simply happens, but something that is created through the continuous interplay of thought, intention, and action, shaping a life that evolves with each step you choose to take. Asterisk as you move forward. Reflect on what you've learned, not just as information, but as a shift in mindset that can shape how you think, act, and grow. Abundance isn't a single breakthrough, but a continuous process of applying new perspectives, taking intentional action, and trusting your potential. Progress doesn't require perfection. Growth unfolds through experience, persistence, and openness, even in moments of uncertainty or doubt. By aligning your thoughts, beliefs, and actions with possibility and purpose, you begin to recognize opportunities more clearly and take meaningful steps toward them. Over time, this steady commitment transforms abundance from something you seek into something you actively live, building a life shaped by clarity, resilience, and intention. Thank you for listening to From Audiobooks. If this audiobook has inspired you, if it has given you new perspectives, or helped you see your potential in a different light, then take a moment to support the channel by subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing this with others who are ready to step into their own journey of growth and abundance. Because your support not only helps this message reach more people, but also contributes to building a community of individuals who are committed to evolving, learning, and creating meaningful change in their lives. And as you continue on your path, remember that every step you take matters. Every decision you make shapes your future, and every moment of awareness brings you closer to the life you are capable of creating. Stay consistent, stay intentional, and continue becoming the person who naturally attracts abundance. This is From Audiobooks, and your journey is just beginning.